Oh, hi there. I wanted to talk about Alexander Ovechkin and how I feel Washington may not be the best fit for him anymore. I mean, he's a big name there for a long time, had very many good seasons, but he's always been thwarted by Sidney Crosby. It just always happens. When he first started out, a lot of people thought he was going to be the next best player in hockey. It turned out to be Sidney Crosby. And he's still at the point in his career where things could go good, or he can go in the dustbin of hockey and forever live in Sidney Crosby's shadow, which, much to his delight, I would not like. I don't want to see Alexander Ovechkin play second fiddle to Sidney Crosby and, Sidney greedily taking everything. Because it is well known that he's taken more than his fair share of the pie. I mean, I realize this is a contest, this is an athletic sport, and that's not really what it's supposed to be about, but a lot of things about hockey people don't know. And like some people go, well, Sidney Crosby works a little bit harder than everyone else. He's earned his stripes. He's done this, he's done that. For one thing, no, he doesn't work harder than anyone else. There's a lot of hockey players that work very hard and aren't as successful. And it isn't because Crosby's better. Yeah, sure, he's got point totals. Yeah, he's got Stanley Cup rings. Yes, we all saw those. But that isn't the only determining factor. I mean, as I said in previous videos, hockey is an organized sport. It's corporation, it's capitalism. Ironic that I'm wearing a Capitals jersey while I say that. Anyway, it's apparent that the Washington Capital organization can't get it together as a whole to win the Stanley Cup. They've had tremendous regular season statistics. Alexander Ovechkin's had big points. A lot of players have had big points on that team, but that particular combination just can't get it together during the playoffs. Never can get past the second round. And after a while, that's pretty demoralizing for any Washington Capital fans there are. Not that I really think it's a big hockey town, but you sure aren't going to win fans by losing. I'm not saying that the organization isn't trying, I'm just saying they're not doing good enough. And Ovechkin at this point in time is a highly sought after player. He is slipping. His last season wasn't up to par as far as previous seasons. Like it's a far cry from his 65 goal season not too long ago. But he's still at that point where he could be a difference maker. I just don't think it'll be with the Washington Capitals. I think their best move would be to move on to ship Ovechkin elsewhere. I know, like, basically any Capitals fan, their number one players that they like will be Alexander Ovechkin, but you have to make moves before you're stuck with something that just really hurts and isn't going to get you anywhere. It will really hurt in the sense that, the agony of defeat from Sidney Crosby. Because, the Washington Capitals have just taken a beating from the Penguins over the years. And I think a team like Philadelphia could acquire Alexander Ovechkin. They have players that are good, but the team itself just didn't get their shit together. They didn't make the playoffs. They haven't made a significant playoff push since they played Chicago back in 2010. That was a great year for them as far as being the underdog, and Chicago beat them. That was their last significant appearance in the playoffs. So right now they do have good players, but they're not, the chemistry must not be there. There's something that needs tweaking. They have made a few off-season moves, not much though. what I think might be beneficial for both the Capitals and the Philadelphia Flyers is for Alexander Ovechkin to be traded there. The Flyers, as everyone knows, hate the Penguins. They've always hated them. And I think that they're a potential underdog team that could creep back into the ranks and make a Stanley Cup appearance yet again. And then you ask the question, well, who are they going to trade for Alexander Ovechkin? Alexander Ovechkin's big name, makes a lot of money. Who can they possibly trade? Well, I'd considered a few things, like there are players that make too much money, like Claude Giroux. Used to be a good player. He's still not bad, but he's a far cry from what he used to be. It's been 3 years since he's had a significant season. And even then, it wasn't that great. It was like 70-something points. So it's been a while, and he makes $9 million. So he's going to be hard to get rid of. And I forget how old he is. I think he's like 29, 30, something like that. So he's not very old. He's still got years in him, but he's definitely deteriorated as far as point accumulation, far so more than Alexander Ovechkin. So I don't think Giroux would be an appropriate person to trade to the Capitals for him, since Alexander Ovechkin doesn't make that much more than Claude Giroux, and he's far better than him. We've got a far bigger cult of personality following than Claude Giroux. But there are other players that could work. There's a defenseman by the name of Goltis Behere, real lousy plus minus. Not a cheap defenseman at $4.5 million, but he can put up points. And not that the defense on the Capitals is particularly bad, but I think he would be a person who could be a component in a trade with the Capitals. I had thought about Braden Chen because he's pretty low on the cap hit, but then I remember he's on St. Louis now, so that's not going to work. Sean Couturier, another player, cheap, $2 million, and he's like a 35, potentially like 50-point guy. Could work. Voracek was the best player on the Flyers. He's not particularly cheap, like $4.5 million, but I think him with Goltis Behere, that could be a plausible trade. And then maybe they could add a little incentive and throw in Couturier at $2 million. The thing is, with those three players, that's actually more money than just Ovechkin. Obviously, those three names aren't nearly as big as Ovechkin either, so that's to be considered. A lot of things to be considered in a trade like this. But the Capitals do have a little bit of space in their cap salary to acquire a little bit of a bonus from the Flyers. I think it could work, and although it seems as though the Capitals would be getting the raw end of the deal because, one of the hugest names in hockey today is Alexander Ovechkin, the point is he's cursed on the Capitals. He's never going to get past Crosby. So they got to make a move, and those players I suggested could be, they could cobble them together in lines and things like that to make it work. Mix things up and give something else a try. I think it would be worth considering anyway. I'm not exactly too certain on what the Capitals Flyers relationship's like. I don't believe they've traded too many players amongst themselves over the years. I don't think they particularly hate each other, at least not so much as the Flyers and the Penguins, and then the Capitals and the Penguins. As a matter of fact, everyone in the area hates the fucking Penguins. Which brings me to the Ask Me Anything video. I was asked a question. Why will Sidney Crosby not three-peat? And the answer is simple. One person like me, nobody's going to notice. But try this on for size. How about 100? You think there aren't 100 people, or 1,000, or 3,000, or 10,000 people who don't like Crosby? I mean, I don't have to be the ringleader here, but I can be a participant on the hate Crosby bandwagon. I'm sure there are other people of more significant stature that don't like Sidney Crosby either. Maybe I can help them. I don't know. Anyway, I suggested the Flyers because I was thinking of a team that could potentially cause problems for the Penguins, and the Flyers are the one that fit the bill. The other teams in the area, like the Rangers, I do not want to see Ovechkin go to the Rangers. The Rangers are always, picking up like big names with big contracts, and it's really annoying. Don't really like Boston too much. I thought about the Red Wings, but the Red Wings don't really have anything to offer for Ovechkin. Henrik Zetterberg, still point getter. He's expensive and he's getting old, so that wouldn't be a good idea for them. I think it would have to be an American team. I just can't see Ovechkin playing on a Canadian team. And none of the Canadian teams really fit the bill for taking in Ovechkin anyway, as far as point totals, what they can offer as trade value, and all that other sort of stuff. And I think the Flyers would be a good place for Ovechkin to go to. Because I really don't want to see Ovechkin go to the graveyard, the hockey graveyard, where that's all he's known throughout history is the shadow of Sidney Crosby. I mean, some people go, "Wow, how can you feel bad for him? He worth a whole pile of money. He scores chicks in there. He gets to live like a king for the rest of his life. This, that, and the other. He doesn't actually have to accomplish anything." Well, that's true, but you still got people lined up to suck Sidney Crosby's dick, and he's won enough. So it's all, like, if I want someone to win because I prefer their personality over someone else, that's part of it. And I know there have been a lot of very good hockey players who are very talented, skilled, very likable. So many of them who've gone to the hockey graveyard in the sense that they've never won a Stanley Cup. They've never won the ultimate goal. So the graveyard taking one more person for now, in the future. More people are going to go there where they just never win a Stanley Cup. Obviously. I don't think it should have to be Alexander Ovechkin. And if I can put my 2 cents in and say that let's give Ovechkin a fighting chance, shake things up, potentially cause a new headache for Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins, then let's give it a go. If I may be so bold as to say so. I don't know. The Flyers were just a suggestion. If someone could think of a better one, you're welcome to say it, but we're just going to have to see, because there certainly are a few players on the Flyers that could be moved. Wayne Simmons could be moved. He's not a bad hockey player, not particularly expensive. I forget what his point totals were, but he's not a bad hockey player. Yeah, because I know it isn't going to be easy for Capitals fans and the Capitals organization to give up Ovechkin. He was a first rounder. Big name, very good point totals. He's really inspired hockey in Washington, but you have to see things for what they are. And Ovechkin can't get it done in Washington. It's not necessarily his fault. A lot of people blame him because he's the captain, but no, it's just not necessarily his fault at all. It's just the components aren't working there. So anyway, that's my take on it. Well, we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.